So what happens when you combine the power and mind of Matt Reeves and Bruce Timm and you tell them to go make something for Batman? The result will be Batman the Caped Crusader. So after watching this show, I'll just say that it's good and that's it. That's okay. It's nothing bad, but it's not groundbreaking or phenomenal either. It's just good and that's fine. Not everything needs to be absolute cinema, peak fiction, even though that would be great, but this show right here is a good starting point for a new version of Batman for his new series. So Amazon Prime released all 10 episodes so far, so all 10 episodes for season 1, so you could just binge watch it all in one go. And I like this personally on their part because each episode of the show is basically a brand new adventure for Batman. None of the episodes really connect off of each other except for the last 2 or 3 episodes where that's kind of a bigger story for a certain character or villain. But other than that, you could just hop in at any episode or any given time and you'll automatically be caught up on what's going on. Like it's a Saturday morning cartoon, kind of that old feeling. Just waking up every Saturday and, oh, I wonder what adventure Batman will face today. And it has nothing to do with the previous episode. So Batman Caped Crusader is heavily inspired by the Batman the Animated Series, which came out in the 90s, and the Batman from 2022, which was directed by Matt Reeves. So you could just tell this right off the bat based off of the designs and where the characters are at. So for example, Jim Gordon is black in this show, just like how he is in the movie. And for Batman's character status, he's only been a crime fighter for about 2 years. And they have that same thing in the movie where the GCPD doesn't exactly trust him yet. They know he's not super evil or like he's not a criminal, but they don't really trust him just yet. So that's where that inspiration is heavily from. Each character or villain Batman encounters, they're kind of just starting off too. They don't necessarily get addressed by their villain names, but once we see them, once we see what they do, we know that's, oh, this is this person, oh, this is that Batman villain. So that was a cool touch by those two. So speaking of character design, there were some of them that caught me off guard a little bit. One was Alfred, because he kind of looked like he let himself go, but after some research I found out that's how he looked in the Golden Age, so I'll give them a pass for that. It was good that they pay a homage to the Golden Age. However, the one that's really a problem for me a little bit is the Penguin's character design. I don't know why, but they changed Penguin into a female, or I like to call this character the She-Gwen. So yes, let's get a hashtag She-Gwen or something out there on the internet if it's not one already. So I don't know why they made Penguin a girl, because the Penguin in the show still manages to feel like the old classic Oswald Cobblepot that we know and love. However, this time, this Oswald is known as Oswalda. And it feels like they made her a female because they wanted to find a way for the Penguin to kill her 2 sons in the episode. And they kind of wanted a mommy aspect, like not a dommy mommy aspect, but like a mob boss mommy aspect, where this could have just worked with the regular male version of the Penguin. Just have the father kill one of his 2 sons or whatever. So yeah, that was just a weird character decision. So, but at least the good part is it still managed to feel like the Penguin character that we know. Also, something else that threw me off with the show just a little bit is how much Batman gets knocked out in this show, or the villain gets away, or he just straight up gets beaten in a fight. And I had to remind myself this is just a rookie Batman that just started out, so he's not gonna be exactly used to like people with superhuman abilities just yet, or Ghost or whatever. So keep that in mind if you're walking into the show thinking that this version of Batman is gonna be him. He's not him just yet. He's getting there though. So keep that in mind. And what does work is how the characters are treated, especially Batman's character. because throughout each episode of this season, Batman kind of starts off in the beginning as a static character. He doesn't really care about other people's feelings. His mind is just focused on the mission. And you could see this because everyone is just a resource to him. Like, he treats everybody just not like objects, but just a resource. You can see this with especially the way he talks to Alfred. He doesn't call Alfred Alfred, he calls Alfred Pennyworth, like an employee last name. He just calls him Pennyworth. So every time he needs something, he's like, Pennyworth, I need you to do this. Pennyworth, I need you to do that. And I'm like, whoa, this is weird, but okay. And throughout the show, he also learns to trust people more because, like I said before, he tries to do everything by himself in the beginning. For example, he used to just go into the GCPD's office and try to collect the evidence to help him for his missions and mysteries to solve. And then as the season further progresses, he starts to walk up to Barbara or Commissioner Gordon, ask them for help. He even trusts them with the contact information as they exchange numbers hilariously. And he finally becomes more human. The more masked criminals or costume criminals he encounters and the more he helps out Gotham City, the more human he kind of becomes. And we could see this at the end where he finally starts to address Pennyworth as Alfred. And I'm glad that was the case because Alfred basically raised him after his parents died. So that would be weird to just call your father figure by their last name as if they were just an employee. I get that he's your butler, but you should just call him Alfred. The guy raised you. You wouldn't be where you are right now if it weren't for Alfred stepping up. So some things that really worked for me about the show was some of the characters, like Harley Quinn, for example. So spoiler for the Harley Quinn episode. In that episode, Harley Quinn is already Harley Quinn, but she still works as Harleen Quinzel, the psychiatrist. And she's really good at her job. She's really good at breaking you down mentally by asking the right questions and everything. However, with this version of Harley Quinn, she has therapy sessions with billionaires or millionaires of Gotham City, and she ends up kidnapping them, locking them in their basement after the millionaires or billionaires confess to all their sins or whatever they do. And she basically psychologically tortures them and breaks them down. And in the end, they all end up willingly giving away their money to charities. So Harley here is kind of doing this for a good cause, but she's just going about it at the wrong way. So it's kind of like her version of being her own Batman. But she's stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, but not in a necessarily good way. Just how Batman does crime fighting or tries to help Gotham City, but not everybody sees it in a good way. So that was just a nice parallel there. I think this works because once she meets the Joker in the next season, hopefully, the transition of her being a psychiatrist or therapist to going to the crazy clown person we know and love today will make much more sense than it did back then, because back then it kind of seemed like Harley just met Joker one time in a therapy session and then she just kind of instantly fell in love with him. I mean, yeah, she had problems of her own back then when she was first introduced, but this version of Harley Quinn's character in this show specifically, it'll make more sense because she's kind of already on the crazy side a little bit. She just conceals it more. But now if she meets the Joker sometime in the future, he'll definitely bring that wild side out of her, and her transition will make much more sense and be more realistic at the same time. So that's why I think that works for Harley Quinn. Something that also really worked well for me was Hamish Linklater's voice as Batman. He's brand new, and I'm glad he didn't try to imitate the late Kevin Conroy's voice. He kind of found his own voice, and it fits the tone and vibe of the show because this Batman is just starting off, so he doesn't exactly have his prime Batman voice just yet. So it kind of makes the performance of the show and the characters' line delivery in the show much more realistic, because both the voice actor and Bruce Wayne are just starting to find their own prime Batman voice here. So that's really cool to see right there. And some things that didn't work was, like I said before, the whole Shiguan thing, but also the audio volume at times. I don't know if it was just me, but I had headphones in when I was watching this, so sometimes when characters talk, it sounded like the audio was turned down low a lot, even though I had my volume almost at max volume. So that's one issue. And another issue was Batman was kind of a side character throughout a handful of episodes. So they'll focus on Renee Montoya, Jim Gordon, or even Barbara Gordon. And Batman will be involved, but he'll just be in the background collecting pieces of the mystery, while everybody else would be out in the field doing all the dirty work. And then Batman will kind of come in and third party the villain at the end. And he always saves the day at the end, but he's not really involved in some of those episodes as he should be. Now, I get why they did this. They did it so that they can establish the built universe of this version of Gotham City for this Batman show, but they could have found a way to, or they should have found a way to incorporate Batman into the mystery more, or into each plot's episode more. Other than that, I really like this show. I enjoy the direction they're going on. This show reminds me of the Batman movie that came out in 2022. I had a little headcanon that this takes place either right before or right after the Batman movie itself. However, what messes this headcanon up is the Shiguan character. But everything else, if you just forget about her for a sec, everything else does line up within the Matt Reeves movie timeline. Because everybody's just starting off, even the criminals have like these costumes that aren't from their comic book counterparts, and they're not even addressed as their criminal names just yet, like they would be in the comics. Overall, I give Batman Caped Crusader Season 1 a 7 out of 10. Like I said in the beginning, it's not bad, it's not phenomenal, but it is a good show just to watch, just to chill to. You know, it's great for both fans of Batman and, you know, beginner fans of Batman alike. I still get that, you know, old Saturday morning cartoon feel with the whole brand new adventure every week thing that the Batman animated series provided for us, while also getting that modernized vibe and detective noir vibe that the 2022 Batman movie provides us. And it's just a good watch in general, you know. So I highly recommend you go watch the show or check it out, give it a try if you haven't had the chance yet. They got all 10 episodes on Amazon Prime, or, you know, you can watch it on any other streaming service if you can't pay for Prime. So that's going to be about it for this Batman Caped Crusader review. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, whether you agree or disagree with anything I said. You can let me know your favorite episode or least favorite episode, you know, what worked, what didn't work for you. And be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can know when I make new content. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.